fucking worked. Wow. We're back, boys. That was some fucking bullshit. My shit just crashed, bro. I got DDoSed. I was too strong, so the Minato fanboys had to target me. But I'm back. Part two. Part two. Hopefully we can get the same amount of people. Bro, some unfortunate shit always happen to me on stream, bro. It's always some bullshit, bro. Minato FTG behind Loco and took him out. God, that's some fucking bullshit, man. God. Minato fans mad about that Loco bait and switch for real? That's what I'm saying, bro. I know some of them had to attack my fucking internet connection or some bullshit. Nah, probably not. Cause I think my PC just crashed, bro. I think my PC just crashed. I don't know what the fuck was just happened, bro. But I got Mono back with me again. Sorry for that interruption. Minato docs Loco. Crazy, bro. Alright, well, we're back now. We're back now. I might as well just fucking get into the video. I don't even feel like bullshitting anymore. That kind of killed my vibe. There it is. Alright.
Hey, stream share it with me.
Oh, right. There you go. That panel of Minato holding the kunai to the Stone Shinobi's neck, that's happening to Loco right now. Oh, hell no. That motherfucker just appeared behind me. God damn. That was fucking stupid. Alright. Whatever. Like the stream, boys, so we can get more people in here. Oh my god, that kind of fucked me up, bro. But yeah, drop a like on the stream, boys. Let's not beat around the bush anymore. Let's just pick up where we left off.
Being all on him and him being virtually alone, he would be mentally nerfed, and nerfed far worse than at any other time in this entire battle, and is also physically nerfed as well, when considering he just lost an arm. Now, yes, Minato is ambidextrous, however losing an arm typically causes very noticeable loss in coordination and balance.
Oh yeah, let's rewind this shit a little bit. So, like I said in the previous stream before fucking Minato took me out, me and Mono already talked to one of Virtue's buddies about this, so I kind of knew he was going to bring this up already. He says that, oh, there's the seal. That's where the seal is placed, by the way. He said that since Minato is kind of like staring off into the distance, the explosion happens. Hold on, it's probably easier for me to show it on panel. The explosion happens like in the distance because Tobirama teleports the orb to Jubito, and then he teleports Jubito and the orb away, right? He teleports them into the distance to like to the left of Minato and Gamakichi and them. And he says since Minato is still staring off in the direction where Obito used to be before Tobirama teleported him, means that Minato is like in a daze. He's not paying attention. But the thing is, Naruto is still staring in that direction as well, which is kind of strange. And we can see that he's not, like, Sasuke is the only one that turns around to look at Tobirama. And then we know that these, like, I guess you could say these are movement lines behind Naruto. We see him turning around to look at Tobirama. So, I mean, it's kind of weird to say that since since Minato is staring off into some direction, that means he's mentally nerfed when, like, Naruto is dead ass looking in the same direction. Isn't that right, Mono? I think that's what we went over.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, so it's not really indicative of a mental nerf or anything like that, especially because losing your arm is pretty physically stimulating, and yeah. Watch what you say, dog. The Minato Anbu got you under surveillance? Crazy, bro, crazy. Notice how Naruto is also staring off into nothing? Yep, exactly. So I'd say this was like an interesting argument. It's creative. I haven't heard it before, but I think the definition that he used earlier, which was like the only way to snap someone out of a daze or a stupor, is vigorous physical stimulation, which is kind of what happens like right here. So you could just say that Minato is not mentally nerfed here, and Virtue's definition would support that. So personally, I mean, if you take this feat to say that Tobirama just actually did outspeed Minato here, then he would definitively win against any version of Minato, pretty much. Lord Fourth, my Shunshin pales in comparison to yours. Fadarama Senju, the racist tyrant. The databook states that Minato was mentally nerfed by Obito's reveal. We talked about that in, I guess, part one, we can call it, before the stream dropped off. I think, bro, Mono, I think we were just spitting too many facts, bro. Like the YouTube like servers, they just couldn't hold it. They just couldn't hold it. I like literally Ryatsu crushed the fucking Google servers, bro. Come on. But
Basically. The one thing I forgot to delve more into was the what the data book or what scene the data book is referring to. Because a lot of people seem to think that it's captioning the moment when Minato cuts Obito, and it's not. That's a different section. But more specifically, the wording used in the data book panel match Minato's words literally right after this scene when Obito is making fun of him for like being a failure or whatever. He says the same thing the data book says. And prior to that, rather than being completely speechless during Minato or Obito's speech, as if he was in a daze, he was completely fine for like the entire combat.
yeah, I just I don't think that. Yeah, a lot of people will do just use that shit to as a what's the like a blanket, I guess, to cover the entire fight until Minato is quote unquote cheered up by Naruto, right? They just say everything that he does from the moment he slashes Obito to the moment he talks to Naruto just doesn't count. And I think that's incredibly disingenuous to say. I don't think that that's the case. I think the most likely interpretation is that, my interpretation at least, is whenever he has these like flashbacks, I guess, where are they? Right here, like these little orange flashbacks are when he's thinking about Obito, and that's at that point you can say this is when he's mentally distracted, and that would affect his mental energies, of course. And then chakra is comprised of half physical, half mental energy, so you could say that his chakra is disturbed, which means that he's not like focused or anything like that. So I'd say like during those flashbacks, you can say that he's distracted and thinking about Obito, but that's he doesn't have a lot of these flashbacks, right? Because he's focused on the battle. You know, that makes sense that he'd be focused on the battle. Um, so yeah, I especially in this instance, I'd say it's more likely that Minato was physically stimulated enough to not be mentally nerfed, and there were no flashbacks present here. So I'd just say that this feat just honestly might count, and that means that Tobirama would beat both Casey and Minato and Hokage Minato.
All on him and him being virtually alone, he would be mentally nerfed and nerfed far worse than at any other time in this entire battle, and is also physically nerfed as well when considering he just lost an arm. Now, yes, Minato is ambidextrous, however losing an arm typically causes very noticeable loss in coordination and balance, and obviously would cause quite the amount of shock to Minato. Just
Wait, so Virtue, you said it induces shock, like the like getting your arm cut off induces shock. So wouldn't that just check the box for waking him up out of the stupor? Like I'm kind of confused here.
leading to, again, Minato being at the worst point of his days, which just goes to say a lot considering there are just so many panels and pages dedicated to specifically showing Minato's impairment. It could almost be its own chapter. So let's not be completely dishonest and say that Edo Tobirama blitzed Caesium to Minato, to which if he did, Minato would just be able to do this better as his body flicker is folds better and faster than Tobirama's, which just goes to show.
Wait, it's kind of
Oh,
hurting my
no.
ears. I gotta lower this down. That was kind of hurting my ears, but I don't see why that's disingenuous. Hold on, I want to hear what he said one more time.
Of his days, which just goes to say a lot considering there are just so many panels and pages dedicated to specifically showing Minato's impairment. It could almost be its own chapter. So let's not be completely dishonest.
Oh yeah. So what he's referring to right here is what Mono was talking about earlier. This is when the days statement would actually apply. This is when he's directly talking to Obito. Like, cause right after this, after he says I may have been able to stop him in the next page, I think he talks directly to Obito. He's like, why are you doing all this, Obito? Like what made you become this way? And then Obito starts talking shit. He's like, your failures as Hokage made it easy for me to give up on my dream of becoming the Hokage. So this wouldn't necessarily apply to that scenario because this happens afterwards.
That Edo Tobirama blitzed KCM2 Minato, to which if he did, Minato would just be able to do this better as his body flicker is folds better and faster than Tobirama's, which just goes to show the difference in raw speed compared to speed techniques like body flicker.
Here
and
it
flying,
is.
right?
Here it is, Mono. I want to hear what he got to say, though. I want to hear what he has to say.
Which Minato is faster at both. With that out of the way, and addressing people who seriously...
Hey, what's up, Virtue? I'm glad you were able to stop by. Bro, I don't know what happened, but this is like the part 2 of this stream because like my shit cut off or whatever. But I like if you want to go back and check out the first one, like feel free to. But it's been a pretty good video so far, bro. I like the way that you compiled it together.
Want to think that Tobirama is above KCM Minato, which is ridiculous. We can now move on to Tobirama also outspeeding MKCM Naruto and EMS Sasuke. Now, that's also somewhat disingenuous, as we do know that Body Flicker is again more of a leap at high speed, utilizing chakra to amp the feet, and it's more of a speed technique, as I mentioned, to which, yes, Tobirama did technically move there because of this, but EMS Sasuke was still outspeeding Tobirama with the actual physical movement in combat with his Susanoo, and Tobirama just mentally...
Wait, did he say... Hold on, I need to rehear that. Oh, yo! 20 from Brian. Yo, shout out to my boy Killer Ninja. Oh my god, bro. Me and Marcus were going crazy on this kid in a different server, Mono. His name was like Killer Ninja 23 or something like that. He had the craziest takes. Like, bro thinks that Kaguya beats Ishiki, fucking like fucking Jubito beats up adult Naruto and Sasuke. Like some actually smooth brain takes like that, bro.
You were talking to Daigo?
Daigo? Nah, bro. Bro.
Basically.
That's crazy. Yeah, he's like when I told him Toneri is stronger than Kaguya, like he actually like started freaking the fuck out. He was like, yeah, you're just a troll. And he's like, he was like, I can't talk to you trolls anymore. And then he just like disappeared for a few days. So I appreciate this money though, Brian. That's very generous of you, man. Oh my god. But yeah, so he says EMS Sasuke outsped Tobirama here. The thing is, yeah, I guess you missed that, Mono. Yeah, he says EMS Sasuke Susanoo arm outsped Tobirama. The thing is, EMS Sasuke had a lot less distance to cover than Tobirama did. We can see that in this shot right here, Tobirama is still nowhere to be found. He's not anywhere nearby, and Naruto comes around and covers up. Sasuke comes around and covers up Naruto, which, you know, that's a great feat for my boy Sasuke, just hyping him up more and more, you know. But then Tobirama just comes up and grabs the orb. Like, we don't know how far away Tobirama was from the orb, but it's just a lot more likely that he was farther away than Sasuke was, because we see in this shot right here, he's literally nowhere nearby. So, yeah. What are your thoughts, Mono?
Yeah, that's basically it. I don't even think I've heard anyone say that before. I think it would have been hilarious and would be if, like, instead of him having shielded Naruto, Sasuke just fucking grabbed the True Seeking Orb and threw it like a softball.
Yeah, this is a good feat for Sasuke, don't get me wrong, that's my boy, but like this isn't really Sasuke outspeeding Tobirama with it. Yeah.
As we do know that Body Flicker is again more of a leap at high speed, utilizing chakra to amp the feet, and it's more of a speed technique, as I mentioned, to which, yes, Tobirama did technically move there because of this, but EMS Sasuke was still...
Wait, so I'm kind of confused here, because now he says Tobirama moved there with Body Flicker, like you said, but earlier he said that he only mentally reacted. to this orb, which body flicker is now. He now says that he's moving, and body flicker is physical movement, but earlier is mental reaction. That was in the last. That was in part one of the stream. We'll call it part one from now on.
Do know that body flicker is again more of a leap at high speed, utilizing chakra to amp the feat, and it's more of a speed technique, as I mentioned, to which, yes, Tobirama did technically move there because of this, but EMS Sasuke was still outspeeding Tobirama with the actual physical movement in combat with the Susanoo, and Tobirama just mentally reacted with Flying Thunder God to leave, which means that Tobirama can mentally react to this EMS Sasuke, but that's about it. Even if you want to argue that the...
What do you think? What do you think, Mono?
Yeah, there's just no way to say that that is an indication of Sasuke being faster. He's just way closer to Naruto than Tobirama was to the orb. And Tobirama had to do that with a shadow clone.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention, Alas just brought this up. That motherfucker Tobirama had to, unless he placed the seal on the way to that spot, he had to notice what was going on, toss that seal over there, or run it over there, and have his clone pop up to get the orb.
That's crazy. So, so either way, yeah. What's up?
We saw what Tobirama did to Sasuke earlier. Let's be serious.
Oh yeah, that is true.
The Susanoo is far above Sasuke, then that's fine, and this feat is just moot for both parties.
Bro, Noodles is the biggest debate goon. Loco is learning well from his father. That's some insane shit to say, my boy.
However, the bottom line is that Minato is indeed faster than this Wase Hokage, as we can see in chapter 631, in which Minato blitzes all the Hokage to the battlefield, including both Hashirama and Tobirama, who are relative, if you give Tobirama his higher interpretations, of course, and Minato is just far faster than both. He also outsped Hiruzen, which is consistent, as Minato has always been above this old Hiruzen, whether that be the 4th data book implying that Hiruzen praised him as the greatest in godlike speed, or the chapter 238 synopsis statement stating that Lord Fourth has unrivaled strength, which would put him above both all the 5 Kage and Hiruzen in speed, who was able to physically react to an unstable Jubito from a large distance even more proficiently than Tobirama, and outsped Tobirama to save Naruto. Now, that is potentially...
Go ahead.
Better than Tobirama is laughable, considering Tobirama placing the FTG seal on Obito, despite him having a larger object he would have had to avoid to do so. That's crazy.
That's both. It's both physical reaction though. Either way, like Hiruzen couldn't dodge it, just like Tobirama couldn't dodge it, but they still like kind of reacted. It's kind of weird to say that Hiruzen moved more when like kind of already established that he did place the FTG seal. Like it's impossible for him to not place the FTG seal without moving, because technically Jubito has a wider wingspan due to those True Secret Orb disintegrator fucking circle things. Oh, my bad. What were you gonna say, Mono?
Not to mention, like, we don't know when Hiruzen started his dodge in the first place. Outside of that, he's trying to use that statement to say that Minato's body flicker is better, which is just gonna go down into that fucking Shunshin rabbit hole.
I want to know what he says about. I want to see if he has a counter to that. But as for this Hiruzen thing, like Hiruzen saving Naruto, first of all, you don't know how far Hiruzen and Tobirama were from Naruto. Like, once again, same thing with the EMS Sasuke thing. Hiruzen could have just been closer to Naruto. He could have been traveling there already, which makes sense if he would have gotten there first. So you don't know how far away they started from him. You can't definitively claim that Hiruzen is actually outspeeding Tobirama here. Bro, voice deep. He's streaming with Batman. Say vengeance real quick. Say vengeance, Mono.
This nigga crazy. Hold on. Vengeance.
What the fuck? Loco, tell me this is clickbait, please. You're gonna have to watch part 1, JSB. I got nuked on stream. So I kind of had to make this part 2 so I could finish reacting to Virtue's video, but like part 1 is a lot more thematic and it has a lot like part 2 when it kind of killed my mood whenever the stream cut off, bro, but we're still here. But yeah, I want to know what he says about the body flicker thing. Let's see if Let's see if he mentions it anymore.
Tobirama, but still worthy to know when considering how he was able to do that so well, with some fans hyping Tobirama's bomb feat to no end when Hiruzen just does it better, yet whilst alive, he was wishing for Minato to still be there to fight Orochimaru for him. However, the common debunk to Minato blitzing all the Hokage is that it's only travel speed. Now, this is very disingenuous for many reasons, such as Tobirama stating that he's quick at striking too, implying conjunction of a similar level. Now, regardless, I do still have much more evidence to prove that Minato can react to speeds a blitz level above his own body flicker, with many new arguments I found in myself.
All right.
Hey,
Do you want this one or do you want me to do it?
so I can skim over the first bit quickly, like with Shunshin meaning either FTG or body flicker. There are ways you can have a better flying thunder god than another person that don't include speed. And so like he just outright can't say that it's like a speed thing for that without extra evidence for that. And the quick at striking thing, I've actually translated, and even without looking at the raw, like quick to strike is a kind of thing you can say for someone who takes the initiative quickly, which he does end up saying in the raw, and kind of mirrors what Minato says about Tobirama later, which is he's quick to act as well.
Yeah. So I was guilty of making the it's just travel speed argument, like Virtue said. I was guilty of doing that in the past, but I guess we can go into the equal interpretation. So, funnily enough, for those of y'all in chat, if you haven't heard this argument before, I've said it on stream before, I think. So basically, you can't really prove that Minato ran to the battlefield. And this is for two reasons. First of all, well, remember what I was talking about in part one. For everyone that was here in part one of the stream, basically, one of Minato's most important feats, one of the only ones that matters really, is outspeeding the Hokage to the battlefield. And then an important statement comes afterwards, which when Tobirama says, "Fourth, you're even better at teleporting than me." So, like I said earlier, you can't necessarily prove that Minato actually ran to the battlefield. It's never stated nor shown. It's equally possible that he just teleported to the flying Raijin marker he left on Killer B all those years ago during the Third Great Shinobi War, and then proceeded to use Guiding Thunder on the fucking Ten Tails Bijou Bomb. So, yeah. It's equally possible, just as likely. And when it comes to this statement, normally you'd say, well, Tobirama says Minato Shunshin is better than his. Wouldn't that mean that Minato actually did run to the battlefield? Well, it's contentious because Tobirama actually mixes up Shunshin and Hiroshin several times throughout the story. Mono, do you have the scans on hand, or do I need to find them? I don't remember what chapter they come from. Mono? Oh, fuck me then. Okay.
Hey, am I coming through now?
Yeah, there you are.
Hey, my shit was freaking out there for a moment.
Yeah, Mio, feel free to DM me. Let me know what you think. Yeah. So, what was I talking about? When was it? So, Tobirama says later on, whenever the God Tree is going insane, like rampaging around, he says that he's going to protect the members of the Shinobi Alliance with my teleportation jutsu, which would be, like, he emphasizes the my teleportation, so he's, like, referring to FTG Hiroshin. Oh, actually, no, he says Shunshin, right? I don't remember where it is. He says Shunshin, but what's up?
Yeah, he does say Shunshin there. And then proceeds to use Flying Thunder God.
I can't fucking find it.
It's close.
Yeah, so Tobirama says he's going to use Shunshin Body Flicker to protect the members of the Shinobi Alliance. But we see him use Hiroshin. So once again, that's Tobirama mixing up Shunshin and Hiroshin. He does this again whenever Minato cuts Obito's throat. I believe it's in this chapter. And he says he's looking at Minato doing this right here, and we see Tobirama like running towards it. He's running at Obito right here, and then he says something along the lines of, "Oh, so he teleported." He says he used body flicker or something like that. This is the actual translation, right, Mono?
So what he says, yeah, in the Japanese, he says he used Shunshin. He had placed a marking on him, which ties into when he fights the Raikage for the first time. The Cloud Ninjas say he put Shunshin marks on his kunai.
Yeah. And we clearly see Minato use Flying Raijin here. So that's just Tobirama messing it up. It happens countless times throughout the series. It happens in the data books, happens in reference to Shisui, in reference to KCM1 Naruto. Literally, not just Tobirama, everyone in the series mixes up Hiroshin and Shunshin for some reason. So where I'm going with this is basically you can argue that in this instance of Tobirama saying that Minato's quote-unquote Shunshin is better than his, you could just chalk it up to an error in translation. Once again, Tobirama and the other characters mix it up so often, you could say that he was talking about Hiroshin or FTG, right? It's equally possible.
Hey, check DMs real quick.
Gotcha. Alice sent it to me? Oh, there it is. Okay. Let me pull that up on screen. Damn, this is a fuzzy ass scan. So, where's the kanji for Shunshin? This is Shunshin right here.
Yep.
And it is identical to this one that he says. This is the one when he's talking about Minato cutting Obito's throat. These kanji right here are identical to these right here. He's talking about Shunshin. In reference to Gaara right here, this is the same stuff as well. Or this isn't in reference to Gaara, it's in reference to Shunshin.
Yeah,
right
that's...
here. I remember this panel. So yeah, it's quite literally. They're just talking about Shunshin right here. Any thoughts, Mono? Or
Yeah, that's basically all there is to it. Like, they just straight up call Flying Thunder God Shunshin non-stop.
Yeah, thank you, Alice. Shunshin is movement speed, Minato used Shunshin. Yeah. So basically, you just can't prove that he used Shunshin to get to the battle. Like, you can't prove that Tobirama was talking about Shunshin. So, yeah. And, of course, then that would... Oh, well, no, you kind of got some background noise coming in. But then you ask yourself, doesn't this mean that Minato's FTG, like, overall is just better than Tobirama's, like, faster than Tobirama's? Not necessarily. The only thing Minato does that's impressive right here is teleporting away the Ten Tails Bijou Bomb with Guiding Thunder. And of course, Guiding Thunder is an ability that Tobirama does not have. Minato is the only listed user, if I remember correctly. So you could just say that Tobirama is impressed that that Minato expanded on his original jutsu, the Flying Thunder God, and created Guiding Thunder. So yeah, it doesn't have to be in reference to like necessarily skill with FTG or speed overall. It just could just be in reference to the Guiding Thunder, which is what impressed Tobirama. So how many times was it called Shunshin versus Hiroshin? Like, what's the actual metric? Yeah, I don't know, but I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like, I've never counted. But it's just very clear that this is from the data book for Shunshin right here. This is the page for it, and the kanji right here are identical to the one seen right here that Tobirama is talking about, but we see him using Hiroshin, Flying Thunder God. So really, you cannot prove that Minato ran to the battlefield just because it's possible that he teleported there, which means that he didn't actually outspeed any of the Hokage. And you cannot prove that Tobirama was referring to the Shunshin here because it's equally possible that he was referring to the to the Hiroshine, specifically the guiding thunder aspect of Hiroshine. Um, I might go through and count just to see. Sure, Sage. If Mono is Batman, does that make Loco Alfred? Hell nah, bro. If anything, I'm Batman.
This nigga's great.
All right, I'm Superman. Head up, nah. Fucking yeah. Let's get back into it. That's just basically the better debunk. Like there's always like the fucking travel speed shit that I was guilty of using in the past, which is kind of like a shitty argument now that I think about it. That's one of the main things I disagree with my old video. But this one, I think,
Yeah,
Mono, you were the one that came up with this one, right? Or like I think you're the first person I ever heard use it.
I don't know if I was like the first ever, but I noticed it like back when I first started Discord, basically talking to Six about it and shit. He came up with the weirdest shit to try to to go against it. But even if you wanted to say it is body flicker, like the whole travel speed shit, the usual counter is like, well, Obito or Jubito's is better, and Tobirama can react to that with an FTG mark.
Yeah. There's plenty of examples of Shunshin being used to describe Shunshin. Brother, I'm not saying that every single instance of Shunshin is called Hirashin. However, it does happen pretty constantly throughout the series, and that's enough to induce skepticism. So yeah.
Yeah, and in the series as a whole, I'm almost certain it's called Shunshin as many, if not more times. Like, I could list all the times it's even referred to at all off the head really quick, and it's mostly Shunshin.
Oh damn, that's a long DM, Mio. I'll check it out when I hop off stream. Like DM me again, just so I have a notification for it, so I can read it later and don't forget about it. But yeah, that's just the common. That's the best debunk to Minato arriving to the battlefield faster, and Tobirama's supposed Shunshin speed being slower than Minato's. Yeah, and though because those are like, oh, I think I hit my mic. Sorry guys. Since those are the two main things that hold up base Minato beating Tobirama, and you can't really prove it either way, then that's why I think the arguments for Tobirama beating up base Minato are just better. It's hilarious that the dude that created the jutsu gets it wrong more than anyone else. Yeah. Alright, well, let's keep watching this video.
So, for those who have really been paying attention to this video, you'll notice that I never said Flying Thunder God was teleportation, as many fans believe, which is erroneous, and I have hinted at that idea for a while. Flying Thunder God is a high-speed technique that, as the second databook suggests, is a high-speed movement beyond space and time.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is what I've been waiting for. Yeah.
This shit is...
That's what we've been waiting for. I have been looking forward to this. This is an argument. I'm gonna be honest. I knew he was gonna bring this up as well. Both Ricky and Mono, I've been talking to them about this for the past few days. They informed me that he was gonna bring this up, and I am very intrigued to hear what he has to say. But I've just been looking forward to this because he's gonna, if I remember correctly, he's gonna use this to imply that Minato's movement speed, not just his FTG, is faster than Tobirama. So my interest is piqued.
The raw kanji for this page and what it actually says, so just allow me to read it out to you and all the important pieces. Its flight across space and time, completed in a flash-like instant. Its swiftness that even surpasses body flicker. The fourth Hokage's jutsu, the reason for his alias, the Yellow Flash, it's his high-speed movement over long distances. It really is space-time movement. It's not even comparable to body flicker. It's more like summoning. This all implies one thing. The FTG is a jutsu that creates a hole in the space-time barrier, opening up an entry point for the user to enter in from, in which they use high-speed movement in that void, a space-time void per se, to then travel across space and time itself. This means that it is a speed technique. This idea does not get contradiction with other sources. As a matter of fact, it actually gets further supported. Tobirama, the creator of the jutsu, stated in chapter 641 on page 11 that, quote, a clone's flying Raijin is too slow, which means that just due to the less chakra in the body, it possesses neither the speed nor chakra necessary to travel across that distance in the flight that
Yet Minato can with a clone whilst in KCM, as conceded by Tobirama right before he slashed Obito. Alright. So he doesn't say his clone can't use flying Raijin. He's just saying it's not fast enough to get the advantage on Obito, if I remember correct. Because we see his clone using flying Raijin, so obviously that wouldn't be the case. But I don't know if that's what Virtue actually meant here. I'm just trying to clear it up for chat.
it needs to, sort of implying it's not good enough for that threshold. Now, before concluding what this means, to further illustrate that there is a blank space beyond space, I guess, is that the Flying Thunder God Guiding Thunder is a jutsu varied off that of Flying Thunder God, but rather instead you open a seal up that kind of cracks space and time, and then you project an object through the void rather than yourself. Here's the databook page supporting this, and if you notice the wording at the bottom, it actually says transferred rather than relocated, therefore implying more movement or travel, which
that wouldn't necessarily imply more movement. It could just mean the same thing. Like transferred, that doesn't have to mean... Well, let me hear him out. Let me
come back to why this transfer wording is just so consistent in a few minutes. Now, for the second piece to demonstrably show that there is indeed a subspace that is traveled within, in the back of the third data book, there is a dictionary section that describes the teleportation jutsu as a technique that allows you to move in a subspace and appear elsewhere. Now, I have officially established two ideas. First of which being that there is a space open in an area beyond time and space where movement is required. Second being that this is a speed technique. This means that statements such as the fourth data book stating that Minato handles the jutsu to perfection, this obviously mean that if Minato handles a speed-based jutsu to perfection, he should just inherently be faster than Tobirama as well.
Why does that mean he'd be faster than Tobirama? Just cause... What do you think about this, Mono? Because it doesn't say that he's more perfect than Tobirama is at the speed aspect, quote unquote. It just says he's perfect at it. What do you think?
So you can, I've been meaning to translate that as some too, to see if it just says mastered or some shit. But even without that, being perfect at being perfect at something that another person is decent at, doesn't mean that you outclass them in every way. So like if Minato just maxed out everything and Tobirama maxed out speed and only one other part, then like they'd be the same speed, just Minato's would be better. But even outside of that, do you think that perfecting a speed jutsu means that, or the way it's being used there means that no one could ever surpass Minato's speed in that aspect? Like, would Naruto having perfected the Rasengan in Shippuden basically mean that adult Naruto's Rasengan is just as strong because it can't get any better?
Yeah.
Like, it's probably just saying that he's the fucking goat at using it, not necessarily that there's no aspects in it that can be surpassed by another person.
I agree. Let me read chat real quick. In the Sasuke versus Deidara fight, Tobirama says Sasuke Shunshin is too fast for him, referring to movement. Once again, we're not saying that every single time Shunshin is used it's called Hiroshin. It's just enough times for it to be consistent and for us to be skeptical of it. I said FTG was a subspace void and you said it was anime only. Well, technically, the instance you were referring to, Cal, was from the anime, which is why I called it anime only. But now, I was made aware of that statement from the back of Databook 2, in which FTG transfers things into a subspace, quote unquote. So yeah, I guess there is a subspace. You got me on that one. Virtue forgets unstable Jubito has no anti-feats. Tobirama has relativity to Jubito, stronger than Hashirama. Loco, let it slide, man, please. What do you mean, Za? Loco, mention my counter to that. I'm about to get into what we discussed, Ricky. Faster in execution, I guess? Interesting. Big up, Loco. Keep on grinding. You get in there? Hey, I appreciate that, dog. But, yeah. Yeah.
Like an analogy for this, let's imagine you're running a race, right? And you have a competitor who is the same speed as you, being generous to Tobirama, as in like the motor units within your legs output the same amount of force and therefore acceleration. You then go home, you kind of perfect your running form, without training the muscles themselves in terms of like enlarging it in terms of hypertrophy. You would then be far faster, or at least just faster in general, than your previous rival competitor, simply due to you mastering the form of a speed-based technique. It's the same thing here, concluding that Minato is inherently faster than Tobirama in these subspaces. This is potentially not even Minato's top speed, as we are aware that he is capable of blitzing his own FTG. The feat is at the end of chapter 630 and the beginning of 631, in which Minato teleports to a kunai that is being placed on the mainland, with motion lines showing the kunai arriving at that time. Minato then cuts into frame, asking if he was late. However, the Bijou Bomb is still on the mainland until sometime after Minato lands there. Then it continues to wreak havoc until it teleports to another marked kunai already placed on the rock off the mainland, to a kunai that was placed prior to Minato arriving there, therefore meaning that Minato teleported the bomb first, then went to the mainland, then the bomb actually moved locations. So Minato did unironically blitz his own flying rising timer, which...
Alright, so I've heard people say this like very often. The easiest counter to this would be like, how would you prove that this just isn't happening at the same time that this is happening? Because we see the bomb is teleported away and then Minato cuts into frame. So it's equally possible that this is just happening at the same time. It's just like, obviously you can't convey that it's happening at the same time without doing like a side-by-side comparison, but it's still possible. And then I believe he said...
This just also confirms the idea of a time frame.
Yeah, he said it was wreaking havoc on the mainland. And this is just the explosion. Like, the Bijou Bomb still isn't like existing right here. This is the explosion from the Bijou Bomb that's off the coast, right? So I never really liked when people say that he outsped his own FTG. Like, I don't like, what does that even mean? But this like Virtue, like, I'm not coming for him or anything. This isn't the first time I've heard this argument, but I've never agreed with it at all. But what do you think, Mono?
I mean, even if you wanted to, because it's just showing what Minato did, not necessarily in chronological order. But even if it was in chronological order, I mean, if you believe FTGs can have different speeds, then, I mean, him outspeeding this one it wouldn't do anything relevant at all. It's basically this entire thing is useless to bring up in relation, at least in relation to like the matchup.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, chat. It's like there are a lot of arguments that literally just don't get you anywhere, and there are like the only ones that matter. Like I was saying, are like Minato outspeeding the Hokage to the battlefield, Tobirama making this statement about Minato, and then like Tobirama outspeeding Casey and Minato. Like, those are the main arguments that matter, and like the rest of them, they don't really get you anywhere. So
innately being there in the first place. So yeah, you could say Minato held back in the first subspace and blitzed his own movement in the second subspace, which is still extremely noteworthy, as Tobirama's clone wasn't even fast enough to move through that subspace, which his clone is what does all the crazy feats, by the way, but whatever. Hence why he needed Minato's help in their combo.
Well, once again, Tobirama's clone is fast enough to move in the subspace, just not fast enough to get the drop on Obito. Like, Tobirama couldn't do the combo move that he did with Minato, like with himself, because his clone wasn't fast enough to keep up with Tobirama. That does, like, we've seen his clone teleport before, so like his clones can teleport, right? So it sounds like he's implying that Tobirama's clones like literally just can't teleport or use FTG, which just isn't the case. What's up?
What he could be trying to get at is he's saying, like, if the clones aren't fast enough to get the job done with Jubito, and he has to rely on Minato instead, that would be in contradiction to him outspeeding Minato earlier. But Minato could just get like a bigger amp, quote unquote, from FTG by being more proficient with it than Tobirama does. So like, hold on. So like, if you were to rank their stats, like normal speed and FTG speed, if both were true, that it'd just be like the clones, or Minato's physical speed would be below the clone's physical speed, which could be below the clone's what's it called? Which could be below the clone's FTG, which could be below the real Minato's FTG, without putting the real Tobirama's FTG below Minato's.
Y'all are downplaying the Shunshin comment so hard. Hiruzen even says right before Tobirama, Minato, you're as fast as ever, implying it's meant to be a speed that Minato got there first. Cal, we've already been over this on several occasions. That doesn't have to refer to Minato's actual movement speed. It could just mean like he's moving quickly to save the alliance, like quick thinking, or like he's setting up a plan quickly or whatever. But I mean, whatever. I've been over that with you so many times, bro.
Also performed another set of actions during that whole time, placing 3 marked kunai in ready locations via either Body Flicker or Flying Thunder God, which just means that Tobirama had to do this one time, just get Body Flicker and go to the battlefield. And Minato does, 5 different actions related to a similar thing, so yeah. Following this, anytime Minato uses FTG throughout the entire war, you could certainly say that since we know the larger the object, the harder it is to transport through the subspace, therefore Minato having the 9 tails and henceforth a far greater mass, he would then be slower than Alive at his peak, or whatnot, or you could just chop it up to say he's slower anyway because of Edo if you don't like the first interpretation. However, I promise this isn't just random ideas being spouted, and yes, of course, I've provided both blatant statements and scans.
Yeah, so Minato having the 9 tails inside of him, saying that nerfs his speed is kind of weird because he's also using it to amp his speed. So it's like,
yeah, at least when he's using KCM, even if you wanted to say that it would be harder in base, in KCM it shouldn't really do anything. And in base, he doesn't ever do anything impressive with Kurama inside him, so it wouldn't even really matter if it was nerfed.
yeah. It's like he's just being equally amped, if not to a greater extent, by Kurama. Whenever he's calling upon Kurama's chakra, at least.
And supporting my claims. However, real physics also support this.
One more thing.
What's up?
Not to mention one thing that gets forgotten a lot. He could even use Kurama's chakra to fuel his FTG without being in KCM 1, just like how Kurama gave Naruto the chakra to clone barrage Madara's wood style without Naruto even gaining whiskers.
Yeah. I guess now is as good a time as any. Virtue has been bringing up his faster FTG argument for a while, so let me explain my counters. So basically, the only way that he provided for, well, that we haven't already talked about, for Minato's FTG just being quote unquote faster than Tobirama's, because let me recap. So Virtue is saying that FTG is a speed based feat. It's not teleportation, right? So if FTG opens up a subspace, he's saying that Minato can move through this subspace quicker than Tobirama, which means that Minato's FTG is not only quicker than Tobirama's, but Minato is also physically faster than Tobirama. So first of all, you ended stream before my last dono. Repeat it. What? My stream crashed. Peach, DM me what you said, Peach, and I'll repeat it. But fuck, Peach, you threw me off there. I don't remember what I was saying. God, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So in reference to that statement, I don't have it yet. Let me pull it up. Minato data book. Where is it? Alright, so God damn it. There it is. Alright, so when we talk about this statement, what he's referring to is when he says Minato handles this jutsu to perfection. So I'm gonna use Ricky's argument right here. This is what Ricky told me to mention on stream. Shout out to Ricky. So if you can't handle a speed-based jutsu to perfection because that leaves open to the interpretation that if it's based on speed, someone else can be faster than you at it, right? So if someone can be faster at you or faster than you at a jutsu that you're perfect at, then that would imply that it's not based off speed, right? So basically that would be Minato's speed would be like a flaw to that jutsu, so it's not about a speed, right? Because if you're what's up?
So this basically kind of connects to what I had brought up before, is if he was perfect at it, that would just mean no one could ever be faster than him with it.
Yeah.
If that meant what like a lot of people want it to mean, which is that like him being called perfect puts him above Tobirama's speed. But for that to be the case, that would mean like Boruto ain't got no chains.
Yeah. Also, you can never really be perfect in speed unless you move instantly. So, like, obviously, FTG. He's saying that FTG isn't instant. He's saying that Minato moves through like a subspace, and unless you're arguing that Minato's movement speed is instantaneous, and no one can ever get faster than Minato's movement, like his actual physical movement, not the FTG, like his actual physical movement is instantaneous. That's just not the case. Like so, no matter how much Minato trained to get faster, his own speed would always be a flaw, basically. So this statement right here from the data books of handling the jutsu perfection just cannot be in reference to the speed at which he traverses the subspace, basically. And that's the main way that Virtue got Minato's FTG above Tobirama's. And it's not like just because Tobirama doesn't have a similar statement about his own FTG doesn't mean that it can't be true. So, yeah. I also had something else to this, but I forgot what it was. I'm gonna have to look through my DMs with Ricky. Even if you don't count the stuff I was talking about earlier, I think I could still prove me. Oh yeah. Basically, this is granting the fact that there is movement in the subspace in the first place. That was Ricky's argument. I actually have my own argument. It's worth noting that Minato's FTG is verifiably better than Boruto's. Yeah, so unless you're trying to argue that Boruto is like fucking slower than Minato physically, then this statement can't really be in reference to the physical, the speed at which Minato can traverse the subspace. But that is granting the fact that there even is a subspace in the first. Well, I mean, there is movement in the subspace in the first place. Like, I used Ricky's argument before, but I actually have my own, right? That I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I did have prep time with this one. I had prep time when I begun to. Once they told me about that he was gonna make this argument, I did have a little bit of prep time, and I came up with my own argument. Now, really all I need is this scan. This is really all I need. This one like page and a half, I guess, kind of just kills the idea that there's movement through the subspace. And if you guys can't already see where I'm going with this, these guys don't know what happened. This is when Minato and Naruto teleport everyone outside of the barrier that Obito creates. These guys don't know what happened. They don't know that they didn't realize that they were teleported outside the barrier. They didn't even know that they were teleported, which means that they did not move through any type of subspace. So, this kind of kills the idea that there is movement in the subspace, like at all, really. And this, we also see this happen again. Hold on, let me move this over here. During the Minato one-shot. So Minato uses Flying Rising Hiroshin, and this dude right here doesn't even understand what happened. He thought that they were dead. He thought that they were in the afterlife. He didn't even realize that he was teleported. And if he doesn't realize that he's teleported, that means he wasn't moving through any type of subspace. like consciously. He didn't move through any type of subspace. There was no movement. These guys were just teleported instantaneously.
So if you go back to that Jiraiya panel real quick, here's something that always made me kind of think there might be movement, because something like this happens when Minato fights the Raikage in that flashback. Um, First, talking about the concept in general, these guys could just be being blitzed. But if you notice, almost every time someone FTGs, when they reappear, not only are there movement lines, but they're also generally shown to be like landing almost. Like you can see these guys are just falling over, um, instead of just like remaining standing, which would be kind of weird if they just were juxtaposed onto the other location. And the same thing happens when Tobirama teleports a couple people. I want to say it was like Naruto and Sasuke or something. I don't know. But when they like reappear, there's the dust cloud with their feet and shit.
Oh, right. I forgot about this. I forgot about that as well. Hold on. I'll hold up on this one until I'm done explaining this right here. But I've argued that FTG users, specifically Minato, can change the angle at which they appear. Like he could have just appeared at the height of this kunai. I don't know if you can see it right here, but there's a little kunai in the post. He could have appeared at the height of the kunai, and then they were just falling down from there. So I definitely think that unless you can argue that like Kid Minato is like perception blitzing his teammates right here, like his movement speed through the subspace, and like that would be saying that they carried him too. Like he would have had to have carried him through the subspace, perception blitzing him the whole time. Like he can't even perceive Minato's movements inside the subspace. And the same goes for these guys too. Some of whom were like none of the members in the Shinobi Alliance could tell what was happening. So that
I think I see where I got mixed up. So do you think he's saying that they like run through the subspace?
he's saying that there's some movement through the subspace, basically.
Oh yeah. No, I always think of it kind of like a weird combination of portals and like 3D model clipping. Like you get shunted into the subspace and then shunted back into the real world. Some shit like that. It could take varying times for that shit to happen.
Nah, he was saying like they actually like, I guess you can say run. He says they're moving, but let's call it run. He's saying that Minato and Tobirama run through the subspace to reach the other side, which would be the marker that they teleport to. So you'd have to argue that like all of these guys just got perception blitzed by Minato and basically by Minato. So it's like, is that really the case? And also, I'm not done yet. That alone would kind of just destroy the notion of there being movement in the first place. But let's say that there is movement. Let's say there is movement.
Oh yeah.
Let's say there is movement. You know where I'm going with this, Mono? Let's say they are moving through this subspace. Minato teleports himself, Naruto, MKCM Naruto, EMS Sasuke, and Gamma Kichi, and they all appear at the same time. So if you're not understanding where I'm going with this, if you're going along with the interpretation that there is movement throughout this subspace, like they have to actually run through the subspace, then this would mean that KCM Minato's speed is relative to that of KCM1 Naruto and fucking Gamma Kichi. So pick your poison. Is Minato relative to this Toad and KCM1 Naruto basically? Or is there just not any movement throughout the subspace? Basically it's a lose-lose. It's a catch-22. So yeah. this kind of refutes the notion entirely that there's movement throughout the subspace. There is a subspace. I'll agree with that. What Virtue has showed me here is that there is a subspace to begin with. There's just no movement in it. It's still instantaneous for the most part. And now look, all credit to him. This is an argument I'm pretty sure he founded, and I think it was great. It would be great, and there would be no holes in it. It's just that more people use FTG. It's not just Minato and Tobirama that use FTG. These guys do it too. It happens here. It happens here, and it's just a lot more likely. It just is. It just is instantaneous. There's just no movement. Perhaps they are forced to the subspace as the same speed as the user. I don't see why that would be the case. I mean, you could argue that the user of the FTG can dictate how fast someone or something moves throughout the subspace, so I disagree with the Gamakichi point. I mean, I don't see how that would, like, I don't see where else that would be implied. But, really just the fact that these guys all got perception blitzed by it is just pretty weird. Basically means that there was no movement. Yeah, so I mean, credit to Virtue. Was a good argument. It's just more than Minato and Tobirama use FTG. They're not the only people to ever use it. So yeah.
Idea with wormhole theory. For those who are unaware, a wormhole, also known as the Einstein-Rosen bridge, is a hypothetical topological feature in spacetime that would fundamentally be a shortcut through spacetime. A wormhole is much like a tunnel with two ends, each at separate points in spacetime. This theory works far more in part to the subspace argument that was employed into my FTG argument just a few minutes ago. The subspace is the shortcut. For example, for those who have never seen a diagram representing that of a wormhole, it would be something like this, right? Initially, in circumstances without flying thunder...
Oh, is he using real-world physics to support his argument?
Yeah.
That's an appeal to reality. So I'm gonna just you can't apply real world physics to a fictional verse. So I'll listen to what he has to say here, but like we're not gonna count this towards his argument.
God,
Yeah, he's just kind of describing. He's just describing how it could work if, or like the mechanics of how it would work if his interpretation was like accurate.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll still hear him out then.
Representing that of a wormhole would be something like this, right? Initially, in circumstances without flying thunder god or any sort of summoning, Minato, or Tobirama, I guess, would have to travel this distance, going all the way around the spacefold. However, if Minato or Tobirama were to have a mark at that space, as the databook puts it, a crack in space and time would appear, allowing henceforth a subspace to open between the two FTG marks that link each other. Therefore, Minato or Tobirama would then have to travel this much smaller distance that would look something like this. Now, note that the 2 points are obviously not one and the same due to that obviously being physically impossible, but this does still line up with the idea that Minato opens up a subspace in between two areas of space. So it's kind of like that space is where Minato reacts through and outspeeds Tobirama or whatever. But yeah, many physicists have concluded that moving beyond the speed of light would be impossible, due to that being the pinnacle of speed which a massless object can move at. Therefore, something with such a significant disadvantage in the speed equation compared to that being with mass wouldn't be able to move at such speed logically. However, it could be theoretically possible to relocate yourself at the speed of light, however. What I mean is this also kind of goes along with Einstein's theory of relativity, which works in his beliefs of the idea that wormholes can be, stretched, warped, depressed, ripped, etc. But, whatever. One thing you could certainly do is manipulate the space around you. To manipulate the space around you, for it to move beyond the speed of light, to then mean that you're not technically moving at the speed of light, but everything around you is, therefore you can relocate at the speed of light. So let's wrap this back around to FTG, as I feel this was semi-tangential. The FTG, according to the second data book, is a speed technique that warps between space, creating a subspace. We established that this works perfectly with the concepts of wormholes, and that space can be bent in such a way to where speed would be able to do it. However, there is other properties that would make this more consistent. Firstly being that how the seal cracks open the space itself to then open the subspace area, which I simply believe is done through chakra. Now, for some more supplementary material for that, which isn't super relevant, just could add some stuff I found, and it's kind of interesting as well, just to add consistency, is that Mike Guy during the war arc begins to...
What's up?
I didn't say nothing.
Oh, I thought you said something. My bad. Yeah.
To warp space after moving so fast towards Madara, or so some people thought. But that led many people, myself included, to question that, considering many people are faster than Guy, yet do not warp space, is this really speed? Well, Probably not. We know this due to Kishimoto later introducing and conveying the idea of far stronger and faster people than Guy later in the war, such as Kaguya, who is stated to be nearly
Yep.
inconceivable
Daigo Knight's not gonna like this one.
in comparison to a fighter like Madara, who is able to keep up with Guy. We also know that the
No,
idea
no,
of the
no.
data book supporting this, but again, this idea isn't super relevant, but the main idea is it's not speed, and we have characters who can move at space-bending speeds, with them being far heavier than Guy. So the main conclusion would have to be it's chakra, not mass or speed.
Cook. I came to the same conclusion when debunking Daigo Knight's 8th gate guy shit. Let's go. I wonder how
You
he's
said
gonna
what?
I wonder how he's gonna argue this. This is actually fucking cooking. I mean, I guess he's tying this back into like support the Kraken space stuff, which I mean I'm fine with. There can be a subspace, it just can't be instantaneous based off of this. So yeah.
Meaning that chakra warps space. And yeah, I'm sure you know where I'm going with this, but Minato implies that the larger an object, the more chakra it takes to teleport. So yeah, which this is also kind of awkward when considering it's moving in a space where mass is virtually irrelevant, and there are theories on the only way to move through a wormhole would be to be de-atomized per se, turned into pure energy, pushed through and reassembled on the other side. And this kind of works with chakra being that idea of it being that energy that's being integrated, and this is also called quantum replica theory, which is kind of interesting. It could hint to why Minato flashes when he comes out of it, but whatever, I'm an anime power scaler, not a fucking physicist. So that just means that the wormhole is probably being increased and decreased based on chakra being implemented.
Yeah, the thing about he literally shows the scan in his video. What? Yo, he literally shows the scan in his video.
Physicist. So that just means that the wormhole is probably being increased and decreased based on chakra being implemented, or the chakra is like lining the walls of the hole of sort, kind of keeping it up.
Minato's reaction speed may be faster to activate the FTG. What do you mean? Arguing Minato is faster at instant teleportation than Tobirama is crazy. Is it like Minato moving at instant plus 1 miles per hour? Ninjas get me bricked up? What the hell are you talking about, bro? Minato greater than Heavy Sasuke, greater than Tobirama? Hey, join my Discord server. Who is Ray? We need to have a talk. I need to sit you down. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's interesting. Einstein Rosenbridge is just a theory. Like it's not necessarily confirmed yet. I mean, it works with like the mathematics behind it. Like it works with Einstein's equations. I'm pretty sure it does work with general relativity from like Newton's laws, but as far as I'm aware, it's still just a theory. Quantum replica, like you said, it is still a theory, and it's like not necessarily proven just yet. But once again, applying real world physics to a fictional verse doesn't necessarily work out. So yeah, I mean this was still like an interesting background on like look, this could work as a cool theory for what FTG is, right? I mean, I definitely think it's cool to think about how there's a subspace beyond the real world, and like FTG users can easily just bend space and time, kind of how the data book implies FTG users have control over space and time. But basically it's just a theory, a game theory, but you can't really use this towards anything like power scaling related, because it's just not necessarily movement based off this. They just were instantly teleported. They don't know what the fuck's going on.
Meaning that the larger an object would be, the larger lining of chakra. But either way you go is fine, as all we really need is just the idea that chakra can warp space and time in such a way, so that just further solidifies the idea of a wormhole. Even this isn't too outlandish, as Minato has been displayed reacting to speeds on that level, being 8 gates Guy, but many people have tried to dismiss.
Wait. On that on the level of what? On the level of, well, I
Night.
don't. Night Guy? He doesn't.
Yeah, so he's trying to link this back to the night guy, as if it hasn't already been, like, thoroughly debunked that this is a feat at all. Like, him doing this isn't a feat whatsoever.
And I feel like it's weird trying to connect this to Guy's space bending. Like, he was not bending space whenever he was running at Madara here. Like, this wouldn't really help your argument whatsoever. I'm surprised he even brings this up. Like, another 5 from Peach Fuzz. They move through a subspace, no time passes in the subspace. If they stay in the subspace 1 million years and come out, no time has passed IRL. Well, first of all, why does that really matter to what we're talking about? And second of all, how would you prove no time passes? That's interesting.
How did you trick Peach Fuzz into giving you money, bro?
Yeah, he's just I don't know. I guess he's on that sugar daddy shit today. Who knows? Logo, why would Killer B keep a mark on him years down the road, knowing he has to fight Minato multiple times afterwards?
How
Um,
do you get rid of an FTG mark? Uh,
yeah,
list of confirmed ways to do that is become the Jubi Jinchuriki.
that's about it. It stated in the data books. Oh yeah, control over space and time. I forgot about that. But yeah, this I'm surprised he's trying to tie this into his like space bending argument for FTG because like Minato isn't outspeeding a guy that's bending space here. It's just like normal guy.
this feat entirely via saying that Guy is in the air and he's slower than Guy on the ground. But this is just very stupid and funny, as if you actually read the fight, you would know that Guy only ever fought on the ground during the Night Guide, not the Sekizo Barrage. With that being said, the Sekizo works from Guy repeatedly kicking on air, increasing his speed every single time. Therefore, when Minato does react to them and teleport to him, this is the fastest barrage attack yet. Now,
Oh,
Uh,
sir.
have you?
Okay, so first of all, for all of his other Sekizo barrages, he's traveling in the same vector, I should say. He's curving around the same angle the whole time and taking several steps in between. When he goes inward to the circle instead of around the circle to the center, he takes one step. Even before his like when he was running up to Madara, he's taking like 10 steps per fucking 5 feet almost of movement. And then he does only one. Like, that's not how running works. He was definitely significantly slower there than he would have been if he wanted to go full tilt.
I saw something funny here. It's Madara perception blitzing eighth gates guy
Oh yeah. He
because
doesn't notice him until he's up there, bro.
Madara is all the way up here and Guy is still looking downward at the hole. The hole in the ground that he punched Madara into. You could see Guy is still bent over looking down at the hole. So Madara just perception blitzed eighth gate Guy. And the rest of the fight you could just say he's holding back and not trying as hard as that's incredibly funny. But to back up what Mono said, he does only do one step, like you said. He breaks off from the circle that he was doing. He's like running around in a circle kind of, and then he just does one step towards Madara.
Keep in mind, right? He had to completely halt all of his momentum that was going off to the side and transfer that into going a completely different direction. Otherwise, if all he did was kind of jump towards Madara, he would have also been drifting off to the side.
Yeah. That actually makes sense because he's not like curvy. So all of his previous momentum was stopped because he's not moving at like you said, he's moving in a straight line towards Madara. He's not moving in a curve or at an angle or anything like that.
Now, yes, while Guy didn't kick again, he still shouldn't have at this point, as you'll notice he kicks off once he's already passed through Madara's area and already hit him, meaning that Guy more than likely doesn't need to jump again or propel himself, which is consistent considering he didn't jump again, or else he would have if he needed to, if obviously his momentum was going limp or something.
Guy was midair running, not scalable. W Peach was.
So obviously, Minato is not as fast as 8 Gates Guy, but this guy is still more than relative to an early 8 Gates Guy. So if Tobirama mentally reacting to one Rinnegan Madara or EMS Sasuke is getting hyped up to no end, then this feat should be talked about a little more.
It's crazy how fast Guy is on the ground right here. You can't even see him. Like he's literally a blur, but in the air.
No, bro, that's midair.
But this is midair?
Yes.
I don't think that's midair.
It is 100%. Look at Madara when he puts the shield up. Next panel.
I'm tweaking. I thought this dust. I thought this dust was the ground. My bad. I thought those were rocks.
Often and actually revisited with a brain. Also, Tobirama discovering seals that deal with movement beyond time and space is ridiculously impressive, but not inconceivable, as he did find a way to interact with the Pure Lands, a separate dimension entirely, and could interact with souls in some mysterious way. But regardless, this
Damn, it's hot
wormhole
as
section is
fucking
more
here.
supplementary material just
I'm
to kind of be
sweating.
added to my initial argument. And it just kind of explains why this is so consistent with wormhole theory. But once again, I've done a lot of research on this idea, but again, I'm not a physicist, I'm a power scaler. But yeah, the notes that need to be summed up and taken is just A, that FTG has speed, and B, Minato is faster in a subspace that's created. The last idea that I certainly feel I need to address is when people look back and think about FTG, they think about how it was always teleportation. However, when someone who understands the jutsu, i.e. Minato, he states it as transportation rather than teleportation, which goes again with the wording I mentioned I'd come back to. As Obito puts it, Minato's art of teleportation, which this translation is for FTG, and it's just, misconstrued or whatever, but allows him to transport between locations with marked symbols. Transport between locations. So yeah, with that being said, I think it's pretty clear that Minato is certainly much faster than Tobirama from this. Now, one critique you may say is, well, there could be other aspects to FTG, and with all this being said, so why is Minato faster through the subspace? And I think this is pretty disingenuous. However, I suppose I can understand your reasoning, as this is an actual new argument. So Minato, as the fourth data book puts it, overwhelmed the masked man with his mastery of flying.
What's up?
It's not new.
It's not new.
No.
I think he argued it differently.
People know. Well, just like calling or saying that, well, you can't prove that it's a faster FGG because there's other ways his FTG can be better. He's not old. Like, I've been saying that since 2019.
Yeah. Yeah, the statement definitely could be referring to like skill with the FTG, not like actual fucking speed or whatever, but we've already talked about like how you can't have perfect speed. That would just mean that like any other FTG user would have to be inherently physically slower than Minato, and yeah, we talked about that earlier in the stream.
Thunder God, and Minato handles the jutsu to perfection, to which there isn't any similar statement.
Bro, teleportation is literally transportation. Yeah, you could just say it's kind of the same thing, like one and the same. Minato has referred to FTG as Shunshin just like Tobirama. Deadass?
Regarding this idea for Tobirama. However, even one thing you could say is that, well, he overwhelmed Obito, and he overwhelmed him with Flying Thunder God 2-step, which is something that Tobirama doesn't have, or does he? Essentially, Flying Thunder God 2-step is exactly what it sounds, adding a second step to exit this subspace with an attack. Tobirama virtually has this ability with his Flying Rising Slice, which literally is the same thing, but with a blade instead of whatever Minato wants to do. So, they both sort of have this in a way, and it's more than likely not talking about forms like that, and we also know this as Minato is able to outspeed his own FTG timers, and Tobirama couldn't even reach the threshold with a clone.
Well, we've already talked about the clone stuff, but I the thing about it is it's not just FTG 2-step. There's also Guiding Thunder, like I mentioned earlier, and Tobirama also concedes that he can't teleport large groups of people like Minato can. He says this during the war arc, so it's like it doesn't just have to be flying rising 2-step. It doesn't have to be in relation to speed, it could be like the other things, like Minato teleporting in large groups of people, whatever, teleporting Bijou bombs or whatever. So the perfection thing, once again, doesn't have to mean speed. We've already proven that it can't refer to speed earlier in the video, though, or earlier in the stream.
Tobirama is also very uncomfortable at the idea of transporting the Alliance himself, and believes
Minato doesn't know FTG, he just moves fast. That's crazy, like, prove Minato knows what FTG is.
that Minato could do it. All these ideas are all speed related, which is consistent, as this is a speed technique that requires travel through point A to point B in a subspace.
Yeah, these guys didn't know what the fuck was going on. I think that's just funny. Like, imagine they just get perception blitzed by their movements. They can't even comprehend the speeds at which Minato and Naruto are moving at, which I believe earlier in the war we see them reacting to Naruto in KCM2. So it's just incredibly inconsistent. They would just outright prove that, like, unless you want to argue that Minato's a perception blitz tier above people that have already reacted to him, to people that he's similar to, at least, And then there's also like his child Minato from the one shot, a perception blitz tier above his teammates. Like, probably not. So that's just my way of kind of dismissing the movement inside the subspace.
Therefore, Minato is just faster than Tobirama.
Heavy Sasuke slams Minato. Come on. You already know.
Sorry, I did feel that was somewhat tangential in the beginning, but still, there are a lot of skeptics out there who would genuinely question the idea of that. So yeah, in conclusion, Minato is just blatantly faster than Lord Second. However, is this really the end of the video? Well, not really. Tobirama has a few key points in his arsenal and character that would give him an advantage, such as him being able to teleport to Minato's kunai, presuming he's fast enough to do so, which is debatable, and Minato would be more than capable of reacting to this, whether that be with his Rasengan or advanced KCM1 level full Kurama ceiling. Minato's Rasengan is also able to put down Tobirama, as let's be honest, neither of these fighters are known for their big muscle strength or impenetrable durability, so this does kind of go both ways, but for Minato's benefit, we know that his Rasengan is able to clash with a suppressed Kurama during the mental scape, and when B enters Naruto's mental scape, he notes he's much weaker, so Minato here being in Kushina's mental scape would also be much weaker, and many people love to point out the negative and positive charges being added and the chains being in play. However, one thing you need to consider is the size of the bomb, and that in comparison to the one that nearly ended Orochimaru's life, the strongest Sanin's life. So
We're talking about the Sanin. Like, I don't think the Sanin are entirely relevant here. I mean, like, it's already stated several times. I think you talked about this at the beginning of the video, but like Minato just heavily implied and outright stated to be above the sign anyways. So I mean, I guess he's just further supporting that, but that's not necessarily relevant, you know.
Minato's base Rasengan should be more than capable of killing Tobirama. Combinations like this are some of the
neither of them have good durability. I talked about that in part 1 of the stream before I cut off.
Most effective ones in the entire series, such as displayed against Obito, and regardless of your interpretation on that whole fight, that fight, for whatever reason, is Minato's Kenkaku and Genkaku, if you get what I mean, but maybe not quite as bad. Minato, that whole fight, was consistently outreacting Obito, such as when Obito tried to convoy him away and he transported him away. Then Minato arrived.
That's not outreacting Obito, that's just him being able to react to the speed at the Kamui transfer speed. So the speed at which Obito could pull things into the Kamui was just slower than Minato's reaction, which isn't bad for Obito. I think I've talked to this on Virtue before, with Virtue before, but it's like I think I know what he's about to say next. So let me just let him finish.
To the shed battle area, and Minato basically tried to engage again to further his understanding on Obito's ability. That is, as he puts it, a space-time ninjutsu that surpasses both his and Tobirama's. So Minato, then holding back to be more cautious, notices he needs to hold back and move equally with Obito, so he could hence then have him materialize so Minato could blitz him and take advantage of whatever flaw the Kamui actually had.
Yeah, he's not saying that, like, we've talked about this before, but he doesn't have to be talking about his holding back in physical speed. All he says is that he's going to aim for a mutual strike and time it precisely. And also, it wouldn't necessarily make sense for Minato's physical movement speed to be a perception blitz tier above Obito, because we see Obito catch his hand and actually materialize with Kamui. So he was intangible right here. Obito reacts to this strike from Minato, who should not be holding back right here. Minato doesn't have that thought of apparently holding back until later on in this chapter. So he should be moving at full speed right here. There's no reason for him to be holding back. Obito catches his arm, and then obviously Minato is able to react to the Kamui transfer speed and teleport away before he gets caught. Right? So basically, if Obito can react to his physical movement speed right here, where Minato has no reason to be holding back, it wouldn't make sense for Minato over here to just be a perception blitz tier above Obito, right? Obito can't even like react to Minato like slamming the Rasengan into his back, which makes it more likely that he just changed the angle at which he comes out of FTG, basically. So yeah, what do you think, Mono? You still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of reasons why here doesn't really mean he had to have blitzed him. Like, we know because people will try to say he outspeeds Kamui's phasing or whatever, but it's like, well, for one, without getting into the mechanics of how it's made passive, we know that when he tries activating his Kamui portals and shit, it prevents him from teleporting. So the fact that he was either partway through activating it or about to, and confident in his win, he might just not have even been in a position to where he could have phased at that point. like switched back up to using ghost mode.
Minato is reacting to an Obito ambush in that panel, and Obito fails to calmly blitz and off guard Minato. No. Minato, I mean, he comes up behind Minato. Minato senses him because Minato is a sensory type. Like, presumably he sensed Obito appearing behind him. Then he moves to hit him for no reason at all for him to be holding back speed here because he senses someone appearing behind him. The same person that, like, they can, they remember chakra signatures, right? So more likely than not, he knows that this is the masked man that attacked him earlier because he encountered the masked man right here, right? So he already knows who this guy is. Presumably he sensed him right here because his like sensory is like kind of passive. So you could just say he recognized his chakra signature, so he knows who this guy is. He knows it's the guy that extracted the Nine Tails, basically. And so like there's no reason for him to be off guard right here. Obviously he's on guard, but Obito still caught his hand here. So it's like there's no reason for Minato to be holding back his striking speed right here. So it's just incredibly inconsistent to claim that Minato is somehow a perception blitz tier above Obito to the point where he couldn't even make Kamui passive. So more likely than not, whenever Minato appeared out of the FTG, he spawned in with the Rasengan already in Obito's back. Or like already close to Obito's back, you know.
To which he did, and we know that Minato was more than likely holding back. As for him to rotate his body in the manner he did, he wouldn't have been able to move at the top speed in that subspace. So Minato should be more than capable of also ending Tobirama in the same fashion as he did Obito. One of the last and final things used to downplay Minato, and I would argue more than the Obito fight, is his encounters with A and B of Kumo. And the argument is that Jonin Minato is just as fast as Hokage Minato is barely Raikage level. Now, initially I had a whole section of 5 scans providing why Minato got stronger, and it's blatantly stated after becoming Hokage. However, here, I'm just going to leave my favorite argument. In the 4th data book for the Raikage A's V2 cloak, it states that it boasts a godlike speed, not inferior to the Yellow Flash, which means that the Yellow Flash, or Jonin Minato, is either equal or below.
Well, it doesn't have to be Jonin Minato. I don't think...
this Jonin Minato argument is the most prevalent cope for any Naruto character I've ever seen.
Basically, you'd have to argue that like literally no one calls him the Yellow Flash anymore, or that as soon as he becomes Hokage, like he loses the title of the Yellow Flash, which is just not how titles work. I think an example I've used before is like Donald Trump was the president of the United States, but he was a president, the 45th president of the United States, but he used to be a TV show host for what was it? Fired
You got
hired.
this shit from me, Loco. His nickname was Master of the Deal.
Master of the Deal?
Yeah.
I didn't get this. I came up with this fucking Donald Trump shit on my own. What? But anyways, yeah, it's like just because he became the 45th president of the United States doesn't mean he wasn't still like a TV show host at one point in time, you know. So it's like it's kind of weird to claim that this is only referring to Jonin Minato. It's pretty bad. I've heard so many people claim it though.
It's also just stated that people still call.
You cut out there.
I said it's also stated in one of his databook pages that everyone respects him and calls him the Yellow Flash.
Damn.
Like, even in that 4th databook page he keeps bringing up for Minato, it has Yellow Flash written across the top. And nothing in there is about fucking Jonin Minato.
Yeah, I just don't see how you'd necessarily prove that like Jonin Minato is like significantly weaker than Hokage Minato. Like maybe he refined his jutsu or whatever. That's like being generous, but there's really nothing to prove that I've seen so far that puts Jonin Minato like above Hokage Minato. But let's see what Virtue says.
V2 Raikage's level. However, for Hokage Minato's 4th databook entry, it claims that he was praised among all ninja as the greatest in godlike speed.
Yeah, this is I want to see where he goes with this. Hold on.
Which means that they both have godlike speed, but Hokage Minato is the greatest, who would just be above V2A, who is equal to Jonin Minato.
Alright, he didn't argue it like I thought he was. You remember that shit Mono with Juju, that was probably the most convincing
Oh
argument
yeah.
I've ever heard for Minato. That was like Juju one made a very good argument based off this statement, but it doesn't look like
I
Virtue's
don't.
about to use it.
I don't even. It's one of the few things I've heard him say that I don't actually think is super good. Um, but even the way Virtue's trying to use it right now, he's just trying to tie it down to like Joe or Yellow Flash being Jonin, and then on top of this, he's again relying on the time period that statement is referring to being like the fourth war, and it's not because Guy's faster, Naruto and Sasuke are faster, Madara's faster
Yeah,
at that point.
I'd
So
say.
obviously, no one in the fourth war is calling Minato the fastest.
So it would have to refer to when he was still alive. So when he was still
Right.
alive, the Raikage obviously survived after Minato did after he died for 17 years. So you could just say the Raikage in Shippuden, after being alive and training and just growing stronger over 17 years, is relative to Hokage Minato when he died. So yeah, like when we talk about that statement, the what was it, the greatest in godlike speed, it could just mean when Minato was alive at that point in time, he was the greatest in godlike speed. uh and then the Raikage got stronger over 17 years. He didn't use like the greatest thing, emphasis on the greatest thing like Juju did, but I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
That would just roll back into, well, greatest in history or greatest time type shit, which
Yeah.
even if that's an argument that can be made, Virtue wouldn't do it as well as fucking Juju.
Yeah, I think like I said, that to this day that is still like the one argument that is the most like convincing to me for Minato winning, because I do like the way that Juju set that up, but I doesn't look like Virtue's gonna do that right here.
But Hokage Minato is the greatest, who would just be above V2A, who is equal to Jonin Minato. This is consistent with the chapter synopsis statement for chapter 548 or 538 of.
Even the fourth surpasses the Raikage. What are his parting words?
Notice how, and the data book does this too. Notice how neither of them are a fucking Kage.
Yeah,
So, like, obviously, Minato is faster than a there, right? But then fucking 20 years later, or whenever this part happens in the war, uh,
yeah. Say it's 20
like
years.
A just gets fucking faster.
Yeah, because clearly, what, especially because it says what are his parting words, you know, so they're clearly referring to the flashback. This is kind of weird. I'm not sure why they worded it like this. They're referring to the flashback though, of Minato just being superior to A here, and then later on in Shippuden is when Hokage Minato at the time of his death is, uh, his FTG activation speed is relative to Raikage A's running speed all the way up in Shippuden 17 years later.
I believe,
Yeah,
which
and it's
states
like,
What's up?
oh no, go ahead.
that Lord Fourth is even faster than Raikage. So yeah, Minato is faster than his Jonin self, so stop being a dumb troglodyte. Hokage Minato is not KCM 1 level when we have
Oh, he's calling me out.
an entire narrative and an implication from
Damn.
Kakashi that is much closer to KCM 2 instead. So yeah, stop downplaying Minato.
Let's not do this, man. Do not bring
So
up this panel.
yeah, not only, oh my goodness. So the amount of things wrong with the Kakashi part, it's like we obviously see that it's a visual thing, or at least that's one part of it, if not the only part. Two, he didn't even. There's no way you could ever prove he had to break out above V2 Raikage levels of speed to pull that feat off. That's impossible. So even if you think Kakashi's comparing him to Minato because of speed, you could never prove he's outputting more speed here than he was before.
You cut off on that last part.
I was just saying, so damn. Yeah, no, I totally forgot. Oh yeah, you could never say that, or you could never prove Naruto had to go faster here than he did against the Raikage
Yeah.
to get there in time. So
So basically, you wouldn't like Naruto doesn't have to be moving at full power, like like fucking god like KCM2 speeds here. He could just be there's no way to prove he wasn't just moving as fast as he was when he outsped the Raikage or around the Raikage speed to block these things.
Into it, these dishonest arguments, and just taking him blitzing the Okage to mean it's just travel speed. Like, stop. Running, and punching and speed are always relative on a general basis. And Minato reacts and moves his arms whilst in body flickers, such as him grabbing Naruto out of his hands. So he's clearly much higher than these KCM1 level speeds. Or if not, then all the Okage are below KCM1 then, I guess, right? As for Tobirama's main win con in this bout, I think his best bet would either be the Soul Transfer Jutsu implied against Sasuke and Tandem Paper Bombs if he manages to get those off, which I'll come back to in a minute. However, let's be honest, with the speed presented, I highly doubt that possibility, as Minato's margin of error is just so much larger than Tobirama's, even though I do believe Tobirama is smarter than Minato. I mean, look what he created. It still doesn't aid his margin of error as much as you might think, as Minato in character is a very bloodthirsty, or at least willing to end the battle as quick as possible. Character when KCM1 Naruto, a character compared to Jonin Minato, first emerges from a mental escape, he blitzes Kisame, in which Bean notes, first to back, quite a smash. That was just like the Yellow Flash. This directly means that an inferior Minato was consistently trying to blitz opponents off start with...
Yeah, once again, you're kind of trying to imply that the Yellow Flash only refers to Jonin Minato, which, kind of already talked about that. But, yeah.
Body flicker, to which, as we can see in Kakashi Gaiden, he usually blitzes opponents off start with his body flicker and then places a marked FTG seal to then gain an even larger advantage and basically just secure a victory, giving the second Hokage the benefit of...
What's up?
So, he's saying here, because Rin says Shunshin here, that he blitzed the dude with body flicker to place a mark here, despite the fact that didn't Minato give Kakashi a kunai to hold on to before the mission started?
Oh, Cook, he did, yeah. He did.
Like, RPG is just simply called Shunshin. I'm sorry.
Rin messed up, yeah. That's crazy.
The doubt on the possibility...
I haven't read this in forever. Like this, I can't remember what it's called. Like, I think it's a Kakashi novel or something like that. It's in the 200s somewhere, but yeah, I don't remember anything that goes on in this, so it's beyond me.
We could see Tobirama use his very masterful sensory skills, coupled with his excellent mind, to potentially predict where Minato would emerge with Flying Thunder God, or at least maybe, sense if he is playing a more sneaky game instead of just slicing his throat, which is what he probably would do. Now, Tobirama's sensory is nothing to really scoff at, as when reanimated in a weaker body at that, Tobirama was in Konoha, yet could sense both Madara and the Ninetales from countries away. Whilst alive and possibly fatigued, he was able to just touch the ground and sense the entire Kinkaku unit, so maybe if Minato scattered the marked kunai across the battlefield, Tobirama could potentially sense which one...
What's up?
Remember when I brought up the smoke at their feet when they use FTG?
Yes.
They're doing that shit right here. Like, all four of them show up with those scuffs for some reason.
Yeah.
Minato was actually going to emerge at, and then just kind of help aid in his own reaction speed, but that's assuming it's even going to be good enough, and more than likely it's not going to be, as this is just presupposing that Minato doesn't, he does this weird strategy of being, I guess sneaky instead of just slicing Tobirama's head off, which means that Tobirama's most viable win cons won't work, such as Tandem Paper Bombs, which are certainly his best bet. These paper bombs were more than capable of bombing a full-size Deity Gate, something that not even a point-blank concentrated Jubi Blast could do. So, obviously, Minato is not, tanking this or anything like that, but, Tobirama won't even be able to pull this off, as Minato is just far too fast and would blitz him before this ever happens, whilst he attempts to get the revived Edo Tensei and then put the bombs in them and then explode them. And if we're being generous and say he can, Minato, also just has a kunai on top of the Hokage statue that he could just teleport to at any time. So,
BFR is himself. BFR is himself.
Fucking Tobirama did too.
Oh yeah,
no, he's talking about dodging the tandem bombs.
Yeah.
In conclusion to the whole video, I was originally going to go with a KCM versus Edo and then an Alive versus Alive, but this video is already an hour long, and base Minato wins against Prime Tobirama, who's stronger than Edo Tobirama, so... I mean, let's be honest. And Minato has more of an advantage in Edo as well, since he's more of a ceiling type of character. KCM. So I think it's pretty clear that Minato, the 4th Hokage, is the rightful winner in this bout. So yes, I'm admitting I was wrong, and I will still keep my old Tobirama versus Minato video up, just to show you my old thoughts and whatnot. As for this video, I would still ask you guys to leave a like and subscribe, as that would help me out greatly. Or if you would like, I also have solo videos out on each of these characters. So yeah, if you want to understand more of their high level end stuff, maybe check those out. But as always, love you guys.
All right. Hold on.
I think it's...
So, what'd you think, Mono? What'd you think?
Yeah, it was basically more of the same shit that everyone else is saying on top of the wormhole theory. That was basically it.
Um, yeah, I think he did make that argument about Minato like steering off to back up the days thing for like Tobirama blitzing or like outspeeding him to the tree secret ore, but um, I think it was only that and the wormhole stuff that was new. Everything else was kind of stuff that we've heard before on the channel, but yeah, the most importantly, um, he could have just teleported the mark on on B. He left on B. It's unprovable. Can't prove he was referring to uh, uh, Shunshin and not Hiroshin. You know, that's the most important stuff. I guess more likely than not, based off the definition that Virtue provided for stupor, he could have been woken up by the physical stimulation of losing his arm. So yeah, it's very likely. But you got anything else to say, Mono? Before I just probably just gonna go off and talk to chat.
Shoot, not really. Like, it was everything everyone else has been saying, all of which is either debunkable or just Joni Minato cope. Like, he brings up Tobirama being faster than Madara and then forgets that Edo Madara is like, oh no, yeah, he wouldn't matter for him if Madara reacts to A because he on the fucking Jonin train. So yeah, it's bad.
Well, I appreciate you for coming on, man. Like maybe I'll get Jordan on here in a minute, but yeah, it's kind of a tradition to have Mono on whenever we talk about Tobirama. We need that YouTube channel eventually, Mono. But as of right now, thank you for hopping on. Always a pleasure, bro.
Yeah, I'll take it easy.
All right, peace. All right, love Mono, great guy. What'd y'all think, chat? What'd y'all think on Virtue's arguments? Oh, first of all, you know what? Check out Virtue's video. I left a like on it already. I'm already subscribed to him. I think he did compile this video together very well, right? I just think that really the only new things that we saw here were the days thing, like I said earlier, that he used to support it, and the wormhole thing. But you know, it's just I'm saying the wormhole theory would have been valid. It would have been valid. I'll say that. That would have, and it did. When I heard that he was going to use the wormhole stuff, I did think to myself, I was like, man, that might be a little bit tough for me to talk about, for me to have like a rebuttal to. But what do y'all think about what I provided about how the people that are teleported by FTG, like literally they don't know what's going on? Donovan, how about you join Loco server? We can voice debate. It'll be fun. He never does. I'm kind of disappointed. Solus needs to rejoin Cartel though. Join Cartel, all y'all. Yeah, when it comes to Casey and Minato, depending on the day, I am like back and forth on whether or not Tobirama would beat him. Looks like today is an on day. I do think Tobirama will beat him. Just based off that feat of him grabbing the orb, basically. But yeah. Your point about Gamakichi and Naruto appearing at the same time as Minato debunked it all. Yeah. I mean, like I'm saying, all props to Virtue. Would have been a great theory. It's just, the thing is, Minato and Tobirama aren't the only ones to use FTG. And I didn't even go into how it's called instantaneous multiple times. Right? And instantaneous doesn't mean very fast. It means fucking instant. It happens there is no time in between. Like it's called instant multiple times. Yeah, but I'm sorry for like that little break that we had in between. We lost like a good amount of people due to that little cutoff. But you know, I do still think base Minato loses. Of course, it's more heavily implied that he's a Sage Naruto rival. You know, maybe in speed, his reaction is the speed at which he can activate FTG is closer to that of KCM 1 Naruto and version 1 Raikage. I mean, not version 1, just the Raikage in general. KCM Minato, I do have more respect for him. Like I was saying, I was wrong about him. Certainly, I said he wasn't even relative to KCM 2 Naruto, and he would lose to KCM 2 Naruto. Let's be honest. But I still think he's closer to KCM 2 Naruto in speed than I originally gave him credit for in my old video. Which is why I do think Tobirama, if you don't grant him that orb feat, you really have no basis for claiming that he beat Minato and KCM. So Tobirama could literally just say, "Wow, Minato, you're faster than me. I'm not talking about FTG," and Tobirama's fans will still find a way to interpret it differently. Hey, don't be butthurt, Donovan, because you can't refute it. Loco is stated to be instantaneous teleportation when Genma and Raido use it. Yes, that's what I was referring to. Also, Boruto being above Jigen is not as proficient as Minato, and that kind of debunks the movement component in FTG. Yeah. I don't see why it's not possible for the person to control the FTG to control it, the FT. I am having a fucking aneurysm. Let me start over. I don't see why it's not possible for the person control it, the FTG, to control the speed at which things or people will move through the subspace. That's not what Virtue was arguing in this vid, though. So, like, obviously it is a newer argument that I haven't heard of. We'll have to, like, work out the kinks, like, figure out the counter arguments, and obviously the refutations of those counter arguments. But as of what Virtue was arguing so far, it was kind of like those two panels still kind of like cut that shit out. Loco can't read for real? What are you talking about? Aw, man. KCM 1 Naruto slams base Minato, yeah. Loco, he literally has a kunai set close up to the battlefield before he arrives. Context clues would mean he ran. Plus, the B thing is way too speculative. Well, I see you asking me all these questions, Trap Matrix, and that's just not my burden to answer those things. Like, I don't have to fucking answer that shit. I didn't. But I don't see why having a kunai set up close to the battlefield means he ran there. Like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about when he appears in front of Naruto or what? Loco is dyslexic, confirm? Nah. What more proof do you need of Toby fans? Kishimoto literally wrote a scene of Tobirama losing to Minato in a race and saying he was faster. And I'm saying you can't prove that it was a race, and you can't prove that he was referring to actual physical speed. Donovan, you've lost to me so many times on this. Join Loco server. Let's discuss that in VC. Yeah, he hasn't done it yet. Poor thing. God damn, it's been about 2.5 hours I've been streaming already. It's just crazy. Shit's crazy. 3.5? Damn. Yeah, what y'all think though? I had fun talking about this though. So, the kunai in the middle of an ocean close to the war. Why didn't he just run over there? Like, you could say he ran over to the middle of the ocean, but that wouldn't mean he actually ran back. Like, he could have just chucked the kunai. He could have just chucked the kunai. He just sent that shit flying out of the ocean and hit the rock, and then he teleports to B and then teleports out. Here's and you're as fast as ever. Toby fans doesn't actually mean fast, bro. Donovan, I guess you weren't here for what I said at the beginning of the stream, but don't be mad because you can't defend your points, bro. It's okay, bro. It's okay. You just can't use that to upscale Tobirama, Donovan. I mean, Minato. This was one hell of a topic to go over, though. Oh yeah, bro. Let me read out some of these comments that motherfuckers left on Virtue's video, bro. Like, I didn't even do anything, and they're already bringing me up, bro. Shit's crazy. Hold on, let me find one. Wait for the local fans to cry about heavy Sasuke being stronger than Minato. Loco don't know how to scale for real. W Loco slander from fucking Brummius. Then Trap Matrix trying to come in and debunk my shit again. Never can. There's like a whole thread of like 53 comments just talking about me, bruh. He didn't even mention me in his video. Loco has ops in chat. Yeah, these comments are funny as hell. Loco fans about to cry. And it's funny because Virtue's going through each and every one of these, having to tell them that we're cool. Like, he's like telling them to fucking stop because they're acting all weird, bro. Loco is a terrible YouTuber, no context. What the hell, bro? That shit was funny as hell. Minato in character is careful for where he teleports Bijou bombs. Hey, what if he just teleported the Bijou bomb to like the same marker that he used in the Ninetales attack? Deadass. What if he just teleported it to the same spot? That's actually something to think about. The Ten-Tails Bijou bomb, imagine he just sent it to the exact same spot he sent it for the Ninetales attack. That'd be pretty funny. Logo, you know what rabbit hole you were getting into? Yeah. I'll come out on top though, come on. If both Hiruzen and Tobirama are referring to movement speed, shouldn't it be your burden to prove it wasn't actually movement speed? You'd have to prove that they were referring to movement speed in the first place. Like, why are they talking about movement speed? You're the one trying to claim Hiruzen was talking about movement speed in the first place, so it's your burden. What are you talking about, buddy? Come on now. Loco, when you gonna collab with Seth the Programmer? I know he's pretty busy, to be honest. He said that he'd start beginning to do more collabs soon, but I think I don't want to be like an industry plant or anything like that, like coming up off the people that are already established. Like, I'd rather just grow on my own. But once I'm up there, I'll collab with Seth, hopefully. That's always been a goal of mine. It's about the actual debate, not the fan base goofy ass summarization. Loco's already the most hated on YouTube. Crazy, bro. Come on. What's up, Link? Loco living rent-free in the head of every scaling fan. It was too close to the war for that to be the case. What do you mean? Loco is the new gen noodles gooning every topic. How is this gooning? How is this gooning? What? People want you and Virtue to beef so badly, bro. Like, dog, it's anime, not that serious. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, me and Virtue are cool. Like, I got nothing against him just because he says fucking Minato beats Tobirama. Like, it's like, why the fuck do I care? But I mean, he, like I said, he made a good video. It's just like whenever new arguments are made, there are always going to be like kinks to work out. So like maybe eventually he'll have a rebuttal to what I said, but I think for right now it's just kind of that whole movement through the subspace thing is just kind of put on hold. The normies are replacing noodles with you. What? We need more goons. We planted Loco to the moon. Come on. Told them to get ready for impact. What are you talking about? Nah, Sage, we ready to die behind this? What? Didn't the Ninetales bomb just teleport to the forest outside of the village? It doesn't show it. I just checked the chapter right now. It just showed it exploded in some mountains. Actually, hold on. You might be right. Never mind. I didn't notice the Hokage mountain. Yeah, I'm tweaking. I didn't notice the Hokage mountain. Yeah, you could. It teleported it behind the mountains that are already behind the stone faces, or in front of the stone faces. But at the same time, Minato could have just broken off from the rest of the group, got to the ocean, chucked a kunai, and then teleported to B. Like, it doesn't really matter. Naruto community needs some more controversy for 2024. Tobirama says Shunshin, and Hiruzen says fast as ever. Both of those of face value are obviously referring to movement speed. You're the one claiming it could be an error. That's your interpretation. Shunshin, I've already induced speculation on skepticism, on why Shunshin is incorrect. We've already talked about that, and you don't have a refutation for it. You're just restating your claim, Donovan. And as for Hiruzen, as fast as ever, I'm asking you, why does that have to mean like physical movement speed? Like, why can't it just mean like quick at striking, like Tobirama says, or fucking quick thinking, or quick referring to FTG? Like, why does that matter? Funny how many times Kishimoto fucked up the teleportation body flicker thing. Yeah. It's too late. You've been planted by TG, I fear. What? What are you talking about? Hey, what's up, Chrome? You Chrome from Discord? I may disagree with Loco a few times, but he ain't gooning at least. Yeah. That dog PFP strikes fear in the hearts of Minato fans. Yeah, bro. Chop go crazy, man. Come on. Did they ever explain Tobirama's red eyes? I just assume it's the cut off doormat genes relating to the Sharingan. Hey, man. He's just an evil motherfucker. He just a goon. Tobirama. You know, he was trying to copy the Uchiha clan. He was trying to act like one of them. You know, he was like cultural appropriating the Uchiha. Donovan with the same argument for the 15th time? Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Circular for the win? What? You are just introducing skepticism. You aren't actually giving evidence for why the face... Brother... I literally did. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I've done it to you before. I've done you dirty before. I bent you over before. It is multiple times throughout the series. FTG and Shunshin are mixed up. Twice by Tobirama. Like, come on now. That's enough for me to be skeptical and say, why is he referring to Shunshin here? How would you prove he's referring to Shunshin here? And you can't. You can't say he's referring to Shunshin there. You can't do it. You can't do it, which is why it's an equal interpretation that is basically unprovable either way. So you can't use it to claim for your argument. Right? But why would FTG be an equal interpretation to body flicker when it's not likely that B has a mark? I don't see why it's not likely. Like, if B absorbed the chakra into himself, the chakra from the seal, then like it could just be like scattered amongst the rest of his Bijou chakra, so the seal could just be inside of him or whatever. And plus, Guki doesn't like it when he cuts off the tails, so you could just say that he didn't know which tail it would be on after he reabsorbed it or whatever. Tobirama unironically Trump voter. Eyes gave him away. What? It's not a fuck up. Teleport is just a colloquial catch-all term for characters blinking around. The issue I have with the teleporter to B argument is that we've never seen an FTG user teleport that far from a marking that they're moving to. Well, Sage, according to you guys, he's perfect at FTG, right? Also, Minato, hey, Sage, Minato teleported back to the stone monument after he teleported away the true secret orbs from 8th gate guy. So he definitely can't teleport that long of a distance. I'm just saying. He did teleport back to the village. When he grabbed the orbs, he teleported back to the village. So yeah, we have seen him teleport over that far of a distance before. If he says Shunshin, you can't just assume it's mixed up every time. I'm not saying it's mixed up every time. I'm just saying it's possible for it to be mixed up this time, and it can't be proved either way, which is why you can't use it as part of your argument. Just restating your claim, bro. You're not doing anything. You're just repeating the same thing over and over again. It's equally likely he does have the seal than not having it. Exactly. In the examples of Shunshin being wrong, you can prove it by showing that they are using FTG. In this instance, there's no reason to assume it's not FTG. Why is there... That's... There's no reason to assume it's not Shunshin. Why is there a reason to assume it is Shunshin? You're just jumping to conclusions. You're making the same fallacy, bro. What are you doing? Basically, alive versus alive. Tobirama slams Casey and Minato. Oh wait, fuck. Fucking cut off there. What was I talking about? Basically, alive versus alive. Tobirama slams KCM versus alive. Minato wins. I mean, today I'm thinking KCM Minato beats or loses to Tobirama. Tomorrow it might be different. I'm still in between. Why would B keep a mark on him regardless if the A-Tails doesn't like it? He has to fight Minato several times after the fact and could be killed in his sleep during the war. Well, if the A-Tails is just entirely made out of chakra, why doesn't the seal just assimilate into his chakra? Similar how Minato incorporates the seal into Kushina's sealing jutsu that she has on the Nine Tails. Like, it could just be absorbed into the rest of the Yuki's chakra and can't be removed, basically. And Minato can always teleport to his chakra, as shown in the war. He can teleport things and himself that are like touching his chakra. So yeah. Also, if Minato had teleported there, he would have taken the other Kages with him. And if the Kages didn't teleport, Minato would have just gotten there sooner, not just a few minutes sooner. Hey, I'm actually working on that. How he could have taken the rest of the Kage with him. It's possible, but I'm not. I'm gonna wait to unveil that until later, until another date. It stated that FTG surpasses the concept of distance. Yeah. Donovan got one of the arguments of all time. Yeah. Bro, if B didn't have the mark, then Minato afterwards wouldn't tell Obito the mark never goes away. Bro, this entire argument is predicated on assuming the Shunshin translation is an error, despite the fact that Hiruzen also implies movement speed. Oh, you haven't proved that. You haven't proved that, brother. My argument, he teleported the Kage with him? Yeah. Let's get a versus Sage and Virtue debate. You wanted to tag team me or what? Fucking 2v1 me? Yeah, I think I'm gonna head out, boys. Been on here for a fucking long ass time, bro. Going on 4 hours. But it was a successful stream. Even with the bullshit that happened in between. Yeah. Pause? Pause what? How can you say you're as fast as ever doesn't imply movement speed? You gotta be extremely dishonest to think that. Fucking Donovan, man. Also, Logan, did you know it's implied that all 4 Edo Hokage helped dispose of the Jubi bomb? Really? Let's go 4 hour part-time streamer. Come on. So Minato wins, Tobirama doesn't. I'm gonna get some tea. What? Shadow, come back, come back. What makes you think that? What makes you think that, little man? B would be using those tentacles in a deathmatch, though. It would be out of character for the Raikage who knows about his markings to let B leave it. Like I'm saying, what if the fucking chakra just assimilated into the rest of Gyuki? It's equally possible that it's there, that it's not there. Did you just argue that Madara was calling Tobirama fast was talking about movement speed? Are you talking to me, man? If it's two statements referring to movement speed, yo? What? Bro, Shadow's the dude who got no diff by Marcus while repping pain greater than Tobirama. What? Jesus. Yeah, I'm gonna head out, guys. My fucking head hurts from all this shit. Yeah. W video from Virtue though. I did change my mind a little bit, but I'm gonna have to head out. I'm not able to see everyone that donated last stream, so I apologize for that. But I appreciate Brian and Peachfuzz Solis for donating this stream. Who donated last stream? God, I can't even remember. It was hours ago. I don't even remember that shit. Yo, look, I'm gonna head out. Be safe. Alright, kid, go. Catch you later, bro. But alright. Well, I'm gonna head out this bitch. I appreciate all you guys for showing up. Definitely was a fun stream. Sorry for the technical difficulties in between, but yeah. In conclusion, Tobirama will always beat Base Minato. Come on. But yeah. I'm gonna head out. Catch